Yeah, I managed to be able to talk a bit.
Yes, you can, Colleen Bertino. Kelly Guest also here, and thrilled for the Great Northern Sexcast to have Ducky Doolittle via Skype, and normally from New York, but reaching out to us today from Baltimore. Hey, Ducky.
Hi.
So everything's working, and we have so much fun. We've had a Skype guest before. It's just been like over a year. So it's been, and we were in a different studio setup and everything else. So Ducky, just go ahead and let's set up your sort of bio and what you do for a living, so we can explain why you're such a coveted guest for us.
Oh, my bio?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm a pleasure-based sex educator. I have been working in the world of sex toys for, I'm pushing 3 decades now. So most of my career, I've coincided my sex education work with pleasure products. And in part because I love toys. I'm like an honest toy enthusiast. But, and I think people can feel that, they can feel it when you mean it. And the other thing is that for me, sex toys are teaching tools. So when I get a chance to be on a podcast or teach to a group of people at a medical conference or a bachelorette party or anywhere, I try to align products with the information that I give, in part because I feel like if I'm going to teach them about their G-spot or about a prostate, and then I can send them home with a product as well, I feel like they're really going to take my advice, as opposed to, it's fun to learn, but oftentimes it's hard to bring it into a reality in your life. And so for me, sex toys are a natural fit for the work I do.
So how did you get interested in pleasure-based education initially?
It wasn't on purpose.
No,
what happened is I was a teenager. I was legal age. I was 18. I got my first job in an adult store. And I was so sexually inexperienced and such a deer in the headlights. I can't even tell you. And every day was so fascinating. Every day I learned something new. And every day there was something that made me blush and made me laugh and something horrifying, all at the same time. The people around me, this was the 80s. They were like, "What are you doing?" Like, this is gonna be a mark on your reputation if you work in the adult industry. And I didn't feel like I was crossing any moral barrier, so that those comments were kind of confusing to me. But I recognized that this was heavy and full of emotion and full of judgment and full of science, and it was just all so fascinating to me that I couldn't leave.
Well, yeah, it was.
And so I've been in the industry all these years, and it's still, every day I wake up and I'm like, this is so fascinating. And I guess I could have been a neurologist or something else with my life, but sex holds me, and I really love my work, and I think that's the reason that people enjoy interacting.
Yeah. We started in the 80s too, and it was really funny because people could not separate the idea of like just a regular vibrator from like an adult movie. I mean, they just couldn't. Everything was this big, scary adult thing, and being able to separate worlds, because they are part of the world, but there's different areas. And
And at that point, we didn't have great books. Mm-hmm. We didn't have great minds coming together. We were, I always say at that time, the products available were so limited. The products that were designed for something I call planned obsolescence, which is, people didn't want to be, they didn't want anyone to know they were using a sex toy with themselves or a partner. They would use it in a hotel, or they'd use it for a day. I don't know if you guys remember this, but people would go into a store and they'd buy a product, and the product packaging would be so covered in pornography, just in nude images and things like that they'd actually take it out of the packaging, leave the packaging in the parking lot, and pull away.
Oh yeah, in the parking. Yeah, I had to pick up a lot of stuff in parking lots, and we had to ask a lot of folks to say, "Can you don't need a naked person to sell this product." I mean, I couldn't figure it. I'm like, and finally it, got to that point. And I have to admit, I am thrilled that I'm not doing the buying anymore, because when I did it, it was a catalog was like 15 pages, and now it's the size of a phone book, or, and now they've moved on to online, just catalogs that never end. I'm so glad I don't have to choose.
Well, but the great thing is we don't have that, we have alternatives to those packages, and you have these clean, beautiful, packages, products that are designed by, today in our industry, what used to be shameful, everything was shaped like a penis or a finger or a stick. Today you have these amazing designers creating these beautiful curves and these beautiful products, and people who used to create, design furniture and cars and housewares are now just, trying to find a way to get into the world of designing sex toys because the stigma's gone.
Oh, yeah. And they're just beautiful. I mean, we see so many things, and, we're looking through, and Tara, who's my buyer, I'll go, oh, God, that's pretty. Oh, how about that one? Oh, we're just like, I can't. And she's, she keeps telling me to hurry up and win the lottery so we can buy everything and put it in the stores.
And on the same note, where customers used to, like I said, planned obsolescence, they'd throw the package away. They'd also throw the product away. They'd leave it in the trash can at the hotel, or they they didn't want anybody to know they had it. They didn't want to die and have it in their nightstand, and where their mom or their sister would find it, And today, though, consumers are really smart and really shameless and beautiful. And today, we're collectors. Where we, today people want products that are going to last long and play hard. And once you have one great toy, then you're like, what else is there?
Oh, yeah, I know that. People are like, if it's new, they are in and they're looking at it. And it's fascinating. Sometimes they'll come to us before we even have a chance to get it ordered, because they've read, they've seen it, or they've read about it, or it shows up in Cosmo, or someone's talked about it. I mean, the social media aspect of people talking about, just saying, this is great. Not only did they throw away the package, they just put the package face down on the counter so that like anybody else in the store didn't see what they were buying. Now they're just like coming in groups going, well, this is what I like. And then they'll tell their friends, and I like this one, and you should check out this. And it becomes like this whole little seminar right in the store.
Well, let me ask you too.
Great.
Both of you guys, since you came into the business around, in the same, era, so to speak, when was the turning point from the way the products were represented, like the packaging, like you were just talking about, and really the whole idea of it? When do you think that turning point really started, and what was the genesis for that? When did it start getting more mainstream and acceptable?
Well, I can tell you, it's still turning. There are still plenty of companies out there that are making products that, have pretty hardcore packaging, and some people who love that, And then I think that the internet helped, but I think as much as that, I think there was an influx, a sort of second wave feminist influx of women in this industry who, said what you're saying, where they're like, we don't need pornography on the package. We don't, we would like to have some products that aren't, that aren't so graphic. And so it was one woman at a time, one store at a time, one buyer at a time. Slowly, we have changed the industry. But it started, I think, in the 90s.
One thing I noticed is that when stores like myself and other ones started winning court cases saying that a vibrator was not adult, was not an on-site thing, cities started regulating the images on the packages. So that was another thing, is that we said, I can't put this in the store with the naked person on it. One store I had to go around with little gold dots and cover up nipples on a package.
Are you serious?
I am serious. Little gold stars, we covered up all the nipples.
That must have been exhausting.
Yes, it was very tiring.
Especially because they come in sets.
Yeah. So
there was kind of a beautiful picture in my head.
Well, we had a fire once, and the neighbor had a fire, not us, but we had smoke inhalation. So there was smoke stuff. So I had my friends in the store like a week later, and everybody had a bottle of 409 and a whole bunch of paper towels, and everyone's wiping down everything. So that was, everything got wiped. I mean, it all cleaned up. I lost almost nothing in that store. And, but it was a lot of soot. And, everybody's wiping down all the dongs. And this was the era of a lot of realistic dongs versus, more fantasy pieces. And so it just, even the guys are like, okay, this is not something that I've done. That's not my own, it just became,
That's a
giggly.
good friend, Colleen.
I have amazing friends.
That's a good friend. I love that. Well, Ducky, just real quick. So you do travel the country regularly for your job?
I do. And now, just recently, about 2 months ago, I started working for a company called Blush. And Blush, I stalked them. For one, the main reason I stalked them is their motors. And I'm not kidding you. I would go to a trade show and they'd put their toys in my hands and I'd just be like, yes, like, I love it. How do you do this? How would you make that rumble, And so I knew there was something techie, something geeky, something sexy, people were listening inside that building. And so I was looking to make a change in my job and I went after Blush and now we're together and I'm so happy about it. And they have a lot of they're a progressive company, so they have a lot of affordable quality. And then they also are one of the few companies that, are engineering their own circuit boards to create their own motors. And so you're getting some really unique stuff coming out of Blush as well. Yeah.
I mean, every time we get something or, we do about a changeover 2-3 times a year of, okay, what are we keeping? What are we going? What's going? And it always seems to be that we're bringing in more and more Blush. And, they're I love all their toys, but I've noticed that they're non-motorized, just your standard dildo has become just an amazing product for us. The texture and the feel and the color and everything. And it's just and I'm like, this is so much fun. Because I'm squeezing it going, this feels nice. And I'm like, and then I just pause and I go, what am I doing in my warehouse? I am squeezing the faux penis, but it felt great. So I was very, but every time I come in, the buyer's like, oh, look what we got. And I'm just very, I'm thrilled. It's just so much fun.
That's good to hear. The thing that I love about the Blush dildos, and there's silicone dildos, there's body safe TPR. All the products are, first of all, made to be safe for the body, whether they're porous or non-porous. There's no phthalates. There's no chemicals. There's no scents put into them to cover up scents. The stuff is all body safe. But when it comes to design, like you were saying, they feel good in your hands, but Blush has a history of creating some of what I call the most beautiful coronas. And corona is the head, the crown of the penis. And that corona, when you put it together with a female body, it essentially acts as a speed bump for the G-spot. And so I really love to hold them up in a staff training or in a workshop and say, look at the coronas. And everybody goes, ooh,
I think what you've just done is answer the question I had. I said, I'm selling a lot more realistic dildos. The ones that look like human skin that aren't bright purple and stuff like that, and are designed more and are more distinct. And I think you just answered it. They like that G-spot stimulation that they're not getting off of a smoother item.
Yeah, something more abstract. Those abstract things can be great in and of themselves, but when you're looking for something, when you're looking for that sensation of a real body, you need that, the curve, the girth that fits your body, and that corona is magic.
Yeah.
So when you do travel, I'm sure you visit chains like Fantasy Gifts and Colleen's, but you say that you do workshops. Now, do you do those just for staff, or do you interact with the public as well?
I'm a megaphone. So I do staff trainings for stores and chains. I do stuff inside the industry at trade shows and things. And then I also do for the public events in stores and at conferences and things like that. I keynote sometimes, like social work and medical conferences, and anywhere where I feel like I can reach people. That's where you'll find me.
That's awesome that you get a floor to do it.
Do you have a series of questions or a seminar that is more popular than other ones, or as you know, because humans are have lots of different interests, that the questions and the stuff you're covering run the gamut?
Well, if you're talking about for the public classes, the most popular class has always been my blowjob class. And I can sell that out anywhere that I go. And it's kind of funny because I'll go to stores and